What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? Who this? New phone. Who this?
Hey everybody, come on in this room. Share this live. We're asking you to share this live once you get in here.
Share. Oh, share. Share the live.
Come on in there. Come on in here.
Come on in the room. Come on in the
Start
room.
recording.
I see y'all coming in the room.
Hey everybody, get on in here. Share it. Share it and come on in.
I hate that I can't see everybody who here.
That's okay.
Nah, but Facebook need to have a boo boo so I can see who up. You know what I mean?
That's all right. They coming in.
These people be lurking in the background.
They ready to get started. Sorry. They ready to get started.
What up? Kiana, what up?
Oh, why I keep hitting
Keep
it?
your ass off the button.
Sorry.
I ain't going down now.
Come on, y'all. Let's get started. Let's get talking. We know basketball started back tonight, so maybe some folks watching basketball. But I guarantee you, you are not going to want to miss this conversation tonight.
Hey, why you turn the TV off?
Because we're not going to watch the game while we do the show. That's not happening.
You could have just muted everything.
No, and you would be so distracted we would get nowhere. So this would be a 3-hour long live with you being like this the whole time. We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
I think all my homies.
What's up, Pate? How you doing?
I think all my homies done went. They on the LeBron train. You feel me?
That's fine. They can do that. We're gonna go ahead and get started though, because what's gonna happen is people are going to
Pop in and ask you what's that.
pop in and say, "What's the topic?" The topic is on the bottom of the screen. We're talking about soul ties. For the last couple weeks, as we've been having conversations, soul ties has come up in almost every single live. Somebody has put it in the comments. Somebody has made it a part of the conversation. So we weren't going to touch it, but we are going to talk about soul ties tonight. So as soon as we get y'all in here, we're going to talk about it. So we're glad to have everybody that's in here already. Shirley, make sure you jazz. Yeah.
Okay. Who else I need in? Shanika Nicole.
Yup.
Shanika Nicole might be
What's
on,
up, everybody?
She might be on her woman duty, you know what I mean? Making that man some chicken and fries.
Creating a soul tie.
By that game on. Shanika Nicole might be busting it open.
Oh, dude, don't be so vulgar.
Vulgar.
That's nasty.
That's grown. That's
It
what?
is grown nasty.
Nasty. What's nasty?
Whatever. Since we in here,
What's your homegirl name who always be coming in?
Who?
Oh, she ain't my friend. She your friend.
I already tagged my friends.
You for real?
Yeah.
You got friends.
Anyway, I want to give a couple quick shout outs. Shout out to my bestie, to Blair, who was featured on Good Morning America yesterday for her fitness line, 8figure.com. If you want some fitness gear, you can't really see my tights.
Hey man, put your goddamn leg down.
But you can't really
What
see
you
my
doing?
tights. He's so
This
silly.
nigga.
But she's got her fitness gear, and I'm gonna put the code that you could use to get a discount if you go to 8figure.com in the comments for watching the show. You can go to 8figure.com. Anyway, so we're glad to have you. We're gonna go ahead and get started because we ain't got all night to wait on y'all, because we got stuff that we're trying to build our soul tie over here. We ain't got all that time, so
You ain't got to lie cred.
whatever.
You ain't got to lie cred. And what happened to the screen, cuz?
It's gonna come back, baby. Just be patient. So I'm gonna pin that.
Okay. So yeah, now y'all can just go get y'all some.
Go get you some workout gear while everybody getting in shape during quarantine at 8figure.com. Use the coupon code Martin's Always Right. She does not have waist trainers, but I do have another friend at shopthebodyfix.com who has waist trainers that I'll show you. I'll be hyping and promoting her next week, so I'll let you know about her. But she doesn't have the waist trainers, but she has amazing workout gear.
So Wanda want a waist trainer?
Get out the people business.
I'm just
What up, Shanika Nicole? All right.
What it is, we can take off now because Shanika. What?
No,
what?
I'm not saying
Shanika
that.
used a celebrity.
I'm not saying that. We have given, we've given our.
We ain't gonna do nothing until Shanika got here. I'm feeling some type of way. You feel me?
You so crazy. You are so crazy.
No.
So we need to talk about something. We want to talk about soul ties. Like I said, it's come up in almost every discussion that we've had for the last 3 lives. People have brought up soul ties and strongholds and all that stuff. So we just wanted to take a moment to talk about what is there. I put the link in the comments. It should be pinned.
She to my drop the link.
It should be pinned. But yeah, so let's get it going, Mr. Martin. What you want to say about soul ties?
No. First thing is, if you could take a moment.
We love you too, Shanika Nicole.
For the people that's here, you take a moment. Think about the best sex you ever had in your life. Like, straight up. Now, I'm going to warn you before you answer. So half of y'all ain't going to answer because you're scared. But think about the best sex you ever had.
Don't drop no names. Don't put nobody's names in these comments.
Don't drop nobody's name now. Especially if it's going to get you beat up. You know what I mean? Because it might not be the nigga you with.
Q's Drake. You the best. You the best.
No.
No? We're not doing that? Okay.
So let's think about the best sex you ever had, period. Period. Somebody that gave you a epileptic reaction. You had a little seizure or two. You know what I mean? While this is going on. So now that you got this particular person in mind, see why. Now, are you still with that person? That's the question. Are you still with that person? Don't answer because you might get beat up. But
ain't nobody beating nobody up tonight. The best sex you've ever had.
Yeah, the best sex. Do you remember the best? If you can remember the best sex you ever had, then just put a thumbs up in the comment. Just don't get no names. Just put a thumbs up if you can remember the best sex you ever had.
Oh yeah, I remember.
You sure you remember?
Yeah.
I'm just checking now. You know, some of y'all don't be remembering.
I'm a member.
You remember?
Yes, sir.
Sometimes you gotta remember that thing. Whew. Yeah, you got to see. Some of y'all don't start sweating.
It's a little hot in here.
It's a little hot.
You remember the best sex you ever had?
I remember the best sex I ever had. I ain't finna talk about the best sex I ever had.
Hey, I ain't judging. I'm okay if it wasn't with me.
I'm just saying though. What if the best sex you ever had wasn't with the person you was with? That's like.
I think that's most people's situation.
I don't know. I think it might be their situation. They can't say it though. You know what I mean? But anyway, okay, we got Shanika Nicole. Somebody.
People, you got to be willing to be honest though. Like, a lot of people don't really want to say, oh, this was the best I had. Like, this is the person that you had to put their phone number in as do not answer or block, or you just like, you can't even like communicate with that person because you like, you know what?
They bring out that ooh wee.
Yeah. I don't want to backslide fooling with you.
Did you just say backslide?
I don't want to backslide fooling with you. So I'm gonna walk over there. You stay on that side of the street. That kind of sex. Yes.
That kind of sex. Anybody that went through phones and stalked people, sat in the car and watched their house?
No, I ain't never did that. That kind of sex. That's too much.
I done had homeboy have me on a stalker move, and I ain't know I was on a stalker move.
Well, he made you friend somebody?
No, he said, bro, take me over to my girl house.
But y'all sat in the car?
I said, okay, bet. So I take him over to my girl house, and he said, okay, to one that I see. He said, pull up over here right here. And it was across the street from my house. And I was like, okay. So we just paused and was like, what's up? He said, no. I'm waiting for her to get home. I said, bro, her car right there. Like, and the lights on in the house, she home. He like, no, dog, just chill. Just chill? Man, what we doing, man? Like, so,
you were an accessory to a stalking.
So, he like, no, I know she got the nigga there with her. I'm like, no, bro, we not doing this, bro. Like, no, we not doing this. He said, bro, you just gonna leave me like this? I'm like, bro, we not doing this, bro. Like, what you gonna do when you see the nigga come out? Then, he like, oh, I'm like, no. So I end up leaving him while he watched his old lady house. Like, that kind of sex. What she said?
Shanika Cole said, I have, but it was from an egotistical, prideful place and not from being head over heels with the person. So she's done those things but not from the perspective of it was so good I had to stalk that person. It was just like, you mine. I'm too prideful for you to be like, you ain't finna do that.
You ain't see the one to change the color of her thumb? Colorism.
Shush, boy.
But
Don't do that. You so silly.
She had a white thumb.
That's okay.
She changed it.
I just like, for me, I think it's important. Okay, so I'm not gonna go into no details about the best, but I will say this: the best I ever had made me make dumb decisions.
Okay.
Like I was stupid for that person. She said she needed the info with her own eyes.
Oh, okay. So you needed verification.
Proof.
You heard of it, but you didn't want to believe it.
I get it.
All right. So now, here's the second question, the second caveat. Are you still with the person that gave you the best sex you ever had? If you still with that particular person, kudos to you. If you're not with that particular person, then my question to you is, are you guys' soul tied together? Do you and that particular person have a soul tie? That's my question.
How many of y'all got soul ties? Like,
How many of y'all got
can
soul
admit to
ties?
having a soul tie?
Yeah, how many people can admit to having, okay, yeah, I got a soul tie with blah, blah, blah.
Shanika Nicole said, very dismissive for the person, gave too many chances. I done been there. Well, I haven't really given a lot of people chances, but if one person, it'd be that one person that you give too many chances. Shalana said, Mr. Martin T asked me to change the color.
That's what I'm talking about.
I just think
right.
that we... You asked, do I have a soul tie with anybody?
Do you have a soul tie? Is it that one person that you feel you guys' souls are knitted together? You kind of with that person for life. Like y'all tied together, y'all bonded in a way that y'all knitted forever. That's what a soul tie is. Like, come on now. It's a lifetime knitting of...
Juanita said her. She said she is.
Okay, Juanita?
Mm-hmm. Chef Juanita. That's Chef.
Oh.
That's Chef.
Oh, Chef.
That's Chef.
What up, Chef? Hey, I gotta pick your brain later. But anyway, yeah. So, what makes you feel it's a soul tie? Chef. Like, can you give me a little explanation of what makes you feel it's a soul tie?
I could tell you about a time that I felt like I had a soul tie. Shanika Cole said, I don't feel at this point in my life I have soul ties with anyone I believe I can get over or move on from. Anybody. I've probably stayed longer with others to avoid adding another body to my list. Shalana said, I don't think soul ties are only through sex. She said, if that's the definition you're using, no. Shawana said that.
Okay.
If that's the definition.
I can read what Google says.
Give the definition.
Says, a soul tie is a spiritual component of any relationship. Its original purpose is to draw people closer to God together. Soul ties can develop over time and can naturally become stronger or weaker as two people in a relationship become more attached or disengaged. That's what Google says.
That's interesting. Because that's not even the way people typically use a soul tie. That's what
crazy.
Like that kind of blew my mind because I wasn't ready for that. We didn't read that at all.
No. But I think that's different from what we see in church.
Yep, very different.
Like when we hear in church, what's a soul tie? It doesn't sound like the Google definition of a soul tie
at all. That's not what we typically see. So for me, it's a little.
What does the church say is soul tie? Like, what do you say?
I could say what I've heard ministers preach as a soul tie.
What you heard the word say.
So,
not your Bible. What the pastor said.
Yeah, many pastors or many preachers that I've like been a part of their congregation or attended their church, they always connected to sex. It's always been
Google got symptoms of a soul tie.
Oh, okay. We're going to get to that in just a second. Chef said, just what you guys said. I feel like our soul connected in a way that I never have before. We aren't together anymore for other reasons, but I think we had a very spiritual connection that still stands today. Now, that's a different take on it because I have felt spiritually connected to people, and it was not based in sex. Even with you. Remember, like, the years, like, in between, there was no sex going on for us, and we still had this like very, very deep connection.
But we had already had sex.
Yes, we'd already had
maybe
sex.
you was reminiscing on the Micho. Like
I wasn't.
Like I had already put the wham bam on you.
That's not what it was, though.
But I'm just saying, though.
That's not what it was.
So you would never think about the wham bam like that?
I thought about it, but that's not what it was. Like, it wasn't rooted in
wasn't
it.
good enough for you to be reminiscing on?
Huh? Man, stop. Chef said most people connect soul ties to sex because we leave a piece of us with everyone we have been with. Is that true, though?
Oh.
Is it true that we leave a little piece of us with everyone that we've been with? Because for some people, they don't have no soul left. They done gave it all away.
Ooh. Hold on now. Chef, I just want to understand. We always connected to sex, correct? Shanika
We do
Nicole?
connect to sex.
We do.
The spiritual, let me not say the spiritual. The religious world connects it to sex.
Yeah, like
the spiritual world does not connect it to sex. They connect it to spirits, like oneness and being in line with like who you are, your chakras and all your aura. That's how they connect it. But the religious world connects it to sex.
Yeah.
And that's very different.
Yeah, it is for some reason. But like going back to what Chef said, she said you leave a part of yourself with everyone you've been with. So I just think of it, since I'm a math teacher, I think of it mathematically. If you're leaving a part of yourself with somebody else, then how do you know when you've given your whole soul away?
She also says, I think so, but with that piece, it can be good or bad. Like what piece you're leaving with them can be good or bad.
Yeah, you can leave a good, it don't matter what the piece is. The piece is good, bad, whatever.
True.
How do you know when you've given all of your soul? Is there a number? You know what I mean? Because I'm pretty sure a prostitute has had more sex than an average person.
Right.
So I'm like, so is the prostitute soulless?
Tawana makes a good point. She said, religiously, we're taught that sexual ties are created because men deposit into women.
So what if you use a condom, Tawanda? I deposited into the condom. So does that release the soul tie?
It's a good question. Chef also said people can also leave bad energy with you as well as good. So it's all connected. So all of that stuff is definitely interconnected. I think spiritually it's connected. I don't think that sex has anything to do with that. Shanika Nicole says, I believe you learn more about yourself with each person you've been with, which can be draining of you, experiencing more trauma than enjoy with them. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think
Someone,
that's
I wasn't trying to
exclusive
be
of a soul tie.
funny. I'm dead serious.
I don't think you can truly give all your soul away. That's what Chef says. I agree. I don't think you can give any of your soul away. I think that you can have your soul intertwined with a person that has the same. No worries, we're not judging. You good? I think you can have your soul intertwined with a person that you're connected with on a spiritual level, but I don't think you can give your soul away per se. You know what I'm saying?
I don't believe that.
I don't believe that. So we're gonna play like a quick little clip to show you guys something regarding soul ties. Okay?
Hold on. You got the video?
Mm-hmm.
You cued the video?
I got a video. Like your girl getting good with this. Ew.
You tough like that? You tough like that?
I'm stuff like that. So let me get this video going for you guys.
You tough like that? Hold on. I don't believe this.
While No More Sheets was doctrine in Pentecostal and Apostolic and Holiness denominations, No More Sheets and Juanita Bynum really brought that soul tie theology.
Oh no.
Yeah, Yeah.
They won't let me play my video?
Well, Facebook said no. Facebook a hater because it was on the page too.
Yep.
No More Sheets and Juanita Bynum really brought that soul tie theology and conversation to a much more mainstream group, right? Much more mainstream idea through the No More Sheets sermon. But she doesn't get that credit, right? So The reason why I say that soul ties are a scam is because, so on one level, you get all of these scriptures that people tell you are biblically explaining what soul ties are, but there's only one scripture. There's only one text that specifically says in scripture that two souls were knit together. Two souls were tied together. And that's talking about the relationship between David and Jonathan. Like that's 1 Samuel 8, the 18th chapter or something like that, where it literally says, and their souls were knit together. It's ironic that when we talk about soul ties, that text is never brought up, right? Because if you want to have conversations about soul ties, and you have then trouble what you think soul ties means in relation to that text, and in relation to what you thought about David and Jonathan, and in relation to what you're talking about with sexuality. So that's on one hand, right? The next part is that you don't have any biblical justification for this idea that when you have sex with one person, a piece of their soul comes and a piece of their soul goes, and then you walk around with all these souls in you, right? Mm-hmm. And depending on the pastor that you get, changes the outcome, right? So like I've had pastors who told me there are some soul ties that absolutely cannot be broken, right? Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all. So you heard what she said. You heard the video. What are your thoughts about what she's saying? That soul ties are supposed to be a spiritual connection and an intertwining of souls, but we've listened to ministers, we've listened to pastors turn it into something that's completely related to sex, when the only soul tie that was ever spoken of in the Bible was related to two men and talking about their bond with each other in Christ, and not
they never had sex.
And they never had sex. So
like they weren't gay.
The Bible talks about the people who had sex with each other that were gay. So this wasn't a situation like that. So where do we get this mindset of our souls being or leaving this piece? But I definitely agree. Like Chef just said, I don't fully think it's a soul tie connection for sex, but more so the energy that person gives off. Absolutely. Like we exchange energies with people that we walk in past, and we exchange energies with people that we're communicating with. You can feel your energy being drained when you're around a negative person, or when you can feel it being lifted when you're around a positive person. That's why we have to choose our circle so carefully. But the thing that really touched me as I began to really study the word and really dissect the word of God, that really convicted me, is that you're saying when you have a soul tie and it cannot be removed from you, that the power of God cannot remove something. So you cannot tell me that God is all powerful over here, and then in the next sentence say, but you got to still have a soul tie because God can't get rid of that soul tie. And I'm like, what? That makes no sense to me. The person who is a believer cannot believe that the God who is omnipotent and omnipresent cannot clear you of something that's attached. Now, let's clear it up. I do believe that you can be digmatized. Why are you laughing? I'm being so serious.
100 times on this channel, it's my job to curse.
That's not a curse word.
And your job to be,
Okay, I didn't feel like that was a curse word, but I feel like you can be so enthralled with the penis that you become cloudy in your judgment, that you don't make good choices, that you decide that, oh my gosh, I can't leave this man alone or I can't leave this woman alone. And that's how you end up having people killing people over what they believe is property that they belong to, or that they are attached to in that way. I don't think that has anything to do with the soul tie. I think that has to do with the endorphins that are released and the kind of high that you get when you have sex. Because let's just keep it real. When you have sex, you are experiencing a form of euphoria, right? It's a high. It's like being on, some Molly or drugs or whatever. And so it sends your mind into a different place. When you do that, you want to keep recreating it. That's why people get addicted to sex. And when people can't have the type of sex that does that for them, they go and they seek and they look for it everywhere, or they go and try to find something else that's going to give them that high. But people really miss it by calling it, oh, you got a soul tie. Now, you may have a stronghold, meaning that something is really holding on to you, but it's not the person, it's the sex. Does that make sense?
I think it's a lot more than just the sex when you look at it from what Shanika Nicole said. When Shanika Nicole was saying that it was pride.
Yeah.
It also has to do with pride. It also has to do with ownership. Mm-hmm. Like I've said so many times, like when we get out of the mindset that we own people, that we literally own people, then we can end racism.
Yeah.
We can end a lot of brutality. We can end a lot of spousal abuse and things of that nature, simply because you don't own the person.
Right.
So I think
you don't own their body, even though the word does say that you own your spouse's body.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
when you get married.
Yeah, I understand it, but I think that's.
I don't think that's literal, though.
Yeah, I think that's from a spiritual place. You know what I mean? But
because you're supposed to be one.
Yeah, you're supposed to be one. However, you still control whether you go to heaven or hell.
Right.
When you go and you repent and you do all these things for God, it don't get me no closer. Mm-mm. You see what I'm saying? Mm-mm. So, ownership of oneself is an issue. Like Shanika Nicole said, she had poured so much into this person.
Right. And she was like, I'm not going to let this just go down.
Yeah, you just can't let it go.
But then she just also said, I'm not attached to anybody from my past that I've been intimate with. I ain't either. Like, I'm not in that place where it's like, ooh, but I remember the good sex. I'm not going to front and be like, I don't remember.
Yeah, you can remember it. I think it has to deal with the fact that you've pleased your flesh, and you wouldn't mind pleasing your flesh again, even if you don't want to be with that person again, because people could do things you don't never want to be with them again.
Yep.
But you do, and you would like your flesh pleased in that manner.
Oh, Shanika Nicole just hit it on the head. She said that's exactly what it is. Folks feel entitled and they can't let go for personal reasons.
Yeah.
That's why you have so many baby daddy, baby mama relationships that they can't co-parent successfully because they feel like they have some ownness in this other person. Chef said your soul is always going to be your soul. I can see how people think that connecting through sex can be a soul tie because it's a mystical connection. But that's usually our lustful instinct, because y'all know we lustful. We are.
Yeah.
I mean, we were created in this way where we had things not transpired in the beginning. We wouldn't be this way, but we're just lustful by nature.
But my whole thing is we tend to lump things together and we call things a soul tie, simply because we don't want to call it what it is. Sometimes, like Shalonda said, sometimes it is a mental illness. However, mental illness is a blanket statement. I feel you have to be a little more.
That's why I asked if she wouldn't mind expanding on that thought.
But sometimes it's just pride. Sometimes it's ownership. Sometimes it's just lust that you feel you can go back. And then sometimes you don't know any better. Like if this the person that got off your jollies and you tried to move on and nobody else could get off your jollies.
Okay, that makes sense with Shalon. Shalon said, I was responding to you saying that's why people stalk and kill people because they can't let go. That's mental illness. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
You're exactly right.
So what I'm saying
that's based more than that than anything.
So a lot of things, when you operate in the flesh, then there's certain people that can't touch your flesh the way somebody else touch your flesh.
Absolutely, because nobody is going to do it in the same way.
So what happens is, until you operate in the spiritual realm where you truly connect with a person, then you can allow that person to touch your body in a way that will be pleasing unto you. But if you continue to just operate in the flesh, sometimes it's hard to find somebody that's going to do whatever that little dude been doing. Cause
I had a Christian lady tell me years ago, before I got married, she told me basically, because I asked the question, I was like, you've been married a long time, like how was it having sex with the same person over and over again? Because I was like, I don't think I'm gonna ever be married. And she was like, what? I said, nah, I don't think that's for me, because I don't think I'm gonna be able to do that. Just like that. And she was like, well, let me tell you something, honey. When you get married and you and your husband connect, it's a feeling that you can't even describe. I was like, I ain't believe her. I really didn't believe her because I was like, I need a little more fact. Like, you like the only person that's married that tells me that. And I also went to the, well, why do so many people cheat?
Yeah.
If this is all that you getting and it's so all that or whatever.
Yeah.
I can tell you. Now, I don't know if it's a spiritual thing or if it's a communication thing or if it's an open thing. The luxury of being married affords you an undefiled bedroom. I mean, it's plenty of people have undefiled bedrooms and they not married, but the luxury of being married gives you that. And part of her statement was true, that you can have this mind-blowing type sex with your mate, but I feel like you can create that with whoever is capable of pleasing you or the person that you teach how to please you. So, partially correct, but the way she sold it, I was like,
she was just trying to get you married.
Right, because I thought I was like, nah, boo, I'm straight.
Our sex life was terrible for a while.
It was, but it had a lot to do with lack of communication.
I mean, I understand that. I agree with you. I'm just being real. But, you know, it was, I wouldn't say terrible because, you know, everybody.
Oh, you already said it.
No, I'm just saying, everybody got their jollies off, but it wasn't like mind-blowing.
It was terrible because of the frequency. It wasn't terrible because of the sex. The sex was always good. Okay. Or at least that's what you said.
I ain't never have a problem with you sexually, so we ain't gonna create no me and you problem right here. So
I'm just saying.
You can stop probing for that. But what I'm saying is, like, if you ain't in tune with the person and y'all off or whatever, it's different. Like, sex is, for me, far more mental than it is physical. You know what I mean? So if you in line with the person, then you good. But, nah. But I was just, one of the things that bothered me is like, people automatically go to, okay, you got a soul tie. And then I asked a while ago, and people got like 50, 60, 70 different verses from the Bible. Like,
that are unrelated.
This what deal with soul ties. Like, when you sin in other areas, you sinning outwardly. But when you sin sexually, you sin against your own body. And they say, boom, that means you got a soul tie. And I'm like, that don't make no sense to me. Period. Because if you look at it, if I go steal something, if I get away, then theoretically my stealing is over. Mm-hmm. I'm done. If I punch somebody and the fight is over, theoretically it's over. But if I have sex with somebody, there's a possibility that I can get up with something that I didn't bring there. So I'm sinning against my own body, which can hurt my body. If I'm married, then we on the same page and we both got AIDS or we both don't have AIDS. And it's just us. So I'm not laying down, getting up with something that I didn't have before. So I'm not sinning against my body because it's the same body. But people took that and said, that means you got a soul tie. And I'm like, no, that just simply means God explained sex before we was talking about STDs. He was just saying, when you go sin against when you go have sex, you sinning against your own body, and there's a possibility you could hurt your own body. Rather than you just stole something, you got away. If you steal a piece of bread, you get away, you eat the bread, it's over. Like, okay, it's gone. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Think about in the biblical days. But, well, way back in the Bible when it's Old Testament. But when you sin against yourself, you can have something that you didn't have before. I don't understand how that becomes a soul tie. But that's the number one verse that people use to explain the soul tie, because every other sin is outwardly, and the sin of sex is a sin against your own body. And I'm like, that don't explain the soul tie. That explain like sex is a little deeper than other stuff, and you might catch something, you might get something. Right. That's how I understood it. But people explain it to me as if that means you gonna have a soul tie, and I'd be confused.
And my thing is, can you have a soul tie with a non-believer?
Yeah, like how you have a soul tie if I'm Muslim and she Christian? What kind of soul tie we got? What's that called?
Mission.
I don't know. And what if I'm atheist?
Exactly.
Does my soul connect to yours if I'm atheist?
Or does it void out?
Do I even have a soul I mean, I'm atheist. I don't believe in none of that. So, there's no deity. Like, how does this work?
I think it's a lot, and I think it really pipes on people having a deeper understanding. And if nothing else, I tell people you have to read the word for yourself so that you don't allow one person's interpretation of the word to completely sway your understanding or deviate you from your own thinking. Like, the great thing about the Christian faith is that you have free will. So you get to read this book and you get to decide if you're going to follow it or not. And if you don't, that's on you.
But I'm just saying, like, if you look at it, the Bible says, study to show thyself approved.
Mm-hmm.
A workman rightly dividing the word of Christ. So you can divide the word and understand the word.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it that we have such a groupthink mentality when it comes to church? Like,
I think it's been done so long.
If the pastor say this, then that's what it is. Like, you don't read it for yourself?
Most people don't. And I've been guilty of that.
Or even when you read it for yourself, you don't question how you get that?
Right.
Like, how you reach
What's
that
up,
point?
Jazz?
What up? Like, how you reach that point and what's going on?
I think it's hard for people to... They want to... I think... Okay, let me make sure I can communicate it correctly. I feel like people believe that if they take the word of their pastor over reading it for themselves, that if something don't go right, their pastor is going to be blamed for it rather than themselves.
So it removes responsibility.
And onus.
So you don't really study because you don't want to be responsible.
Many people don't. Remember, I was talking to you yesterday. I was like, you have the readers, you have the hearers, and you have the doers of the word.
Yeah.
So you got people who... You got readers, people who will read it and don't apply nothing. You got people who are the hearers. They are the ones who go to church and they listen to it. They listen to other people interpret the Bible for them. And that's what they get from there. And they kind of operate in that space. But then you have the doers, the people who have read it, who have heard it, and who are doing what the word says. That's a little bit different. You said it's a luxury to have an undefiled bed in marriage, but that also opens the door to the gray area of your body no longer being yours. I've heard women say they've been raped in their marriage and have heard pastors refute that. Oh, you've heard pastors say that they can't, that's not a touchscreen, babe. You've heard pastors say that women can't be raped in their marriage. And I disagree. A woman can definitely be raped in their marriage. I think it's an interesting dynamic when you get to that place because not to get all discussed and too deep in the rape conversation for this particular topic, but rape in a marriage is going to look different than rape on the street in some ways. Now,
it's only going to look different in the eyes of the people who got to prosecute the rape.
Right.
It's still a rape.
No, it's still a rape. No, but what I'm saying is pastors attempt to refute that by saying that you don't own your body or you don't get to tell your spouse no. And that's where we have issues with the way that the Bible portrayed women and the way that we try to still exist in a way where women's thoughts and feelings and opinions about things are diminished. And that's problematic. So we don't function in that same way. Women have a voice and women are able to say things and express themselves. Whereas if you don't want to have sex, you can communicate that. Now, any man who then attempts to have sex with a woman who doesn't want to have sex, yes, that is rape.
But what I'm saying is when I hear, and maybe you can help me to one, when I hear the bedroom is undefiled,
I don't connect that to rape at all.
I don't, and I also always connect it to anything in a relationship is what those two people agree upon.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I've never really connected, and I'm pretty sure pastors have done it, and I know you're not making it up.
Right.
But what I'm saying is when I hear the bedroom is undefiled of the married bedroom, meaning the two married people that are involved in this bedroom, there's no limit to what they could do within this bedroom.
With each other.
But what I always thought was it had to be consensual.
Yeah.
Between those two married people. I never really even fathomed having any type of sex with my wife that wasn't consensual. Like,
right.
To me, I don't know. I can't really wrap my head around it.
Right.
That you would have sex with somebody who didn't consent for you to have sex with them. Like, I don't even have angry sex. Like, if I'm mad or you mad, well, we not doing that. Not on my end. So you can go on and get away from me. Ain't no, ooh, this turn me on. No, that don't even turn me on to be angry and all that other stuff. Like, nah, certain things that don't get my jollies rolling. You know what I mean? For me, I need everybody to be happy.
I think it's problematic
consensual.
though for a pastor to refute that that rape has occurred in marriage. I think that's a problem because I do believe it's possible. I think there are people who have said or not consented to having sex and have still been forced to have sex.
That's rape.
And that's rape.
That
Simply put, there's no other way around it. There's
rape.
no.
I never understood that. Like, I'm different. Like, I've had the opportunity to have sex with women that have been too drunk to even know what's going on. I remember giving a young lady a bath in college. Like, we were dating, so I knew it wasn't gonna be like, oh, you took. We were dating, but she was dead drunk, and like before she passed out, she was saying she wanted something. Well, you done passed out, so I just gave you a bath, washed you up, put you in the bed, and left you there. I even left and went home, left you in the bed or whatever. But I'm not doing that with you when you incapacitated and all this other stuff. Like, that don't do nothing for me. Like, I need you alive,
conscious,
ready. Remember what I just did to you, because I might not be able to do this again. This might be my night to wonder that I'm on fire. You know what I mean? I'm 12 for 12 from 3-point land. This is my night. Let me show how. I need you to remember it. The next night, I might go 1 for 8. Hey, tonight is my night. I need you to remember it. That's how I always felt. So I ain't never want. I don't know. Like, you are absolutely correct. And
When we think about an undefiled bed in a marriage, it's a consensual bed. So
yeah,
we talk about a lot of stuff. Our marriage is our marriage, so we do it our own way. We do our own thing. So when we talk about things that we want to experience or conversations that we have about our sex life and things like that, it's from a place of, if we're talking about it, we are giving each other consent to allow this to happen.
Yeah.
To engage in it.
And you asking about it.
And you're asking about it. There have been conversations that we've had, and I'm like, nope.
Nah, it's been
not gonna do it.
Conversation we had, I'll be like, nah, I ain't with that. Nah,
right.
Straight.
On both parties, where it's like,
nah,
I ain't gonna do it. We're not doing that. And so it's understood. And there's other conversations where we're like, okay, you know what? We could try. Let's try that. So it's really a lot of the word, and this is where I kind of had to take a step back from church as a whole, and I truly had to read the word and study the word for myself, because it was becoming a practice where people were taking the word and perversing it, because they were making it about what they and their church wanted to do, or what they and their church believed, and it had I couldn't find none of their doctrine in the word, and that was problematic. I'm going, hold on, so what book you reading this from? Or what page is this? Or what chapter is this? Or what I don't understand. And so there's a problem.
Churches are good for pastor said this. Doing, like, they'll have a series of making love to your wife, or happy sex life in marriage. And pastor said this in that series. So instead of making the word gospel, what pastor said in that series
now became gospel. Yep.
So it's like, pastor said this, or first lady said this, first lady said that when she spoke about the bedroom. So this is what it is. When, no matter what church you go to, if this is the plan you following, which is the Bible, then that's the plan that you follow. And so you can't really deviate from the plan, because
you don't get to remix it, right?
Yeah, you don't. It's already written. So, and that's when you get people you get non-believers who have questions and who doubt what's going on, because we've allowed what pastor said to become gospel, or what first lady said to become gospel, when gospel is already written. It's already written. there's a section of the Bible called the Gospels. It's already written. So therefore, that's where we should be getting this from.
Tawana said, you're correct. I think my issue is a lot of the biblical standards around sex and marriage are skewed. For instance, the video shows that the only soul tie reference had nothing to do with sex. So we've gone about life thinking we're connected on a soulish way that probably doesn't exist. Exactly. And then Chef said, you hit the nail on the head. A lot of advice or church counsel comes from their own perspective and not how you need to handle it. It's not. It's how to keep people in a state of confusion. You're exactly right.
Oh yeah, it's just and that's what people who are church goers get upset for, because they'll simply tell you like you are against God or something of that nature, just simply because my understanding of what's written wasn't exactly how your understanding of what's written. You know what I mean? So like when I read the Bible, I'll give you one that we always run into. When I read the Bible, I read that Peter was a cusser. But I also read the Bible and I understood that Peter and John was the closest to Jesus. He took them everywhere. So my thing is, if Peter was this angry cusser and saying cuss words was so bad, why did Jesus take Peter and John everywhere? Like, if it was so bad, I remember as a kid, I would never say I was saved because I cursed. But my mama cussed. Like, my mama cussed all day, every day. So it's natural. That's the language I heard. Like, I got, like, Anquan Bowden, my friend, he ain't cursed since, I think it was 7th or 8th grade. Before that, me and him used to have competition cussing. But since 7th or 8th grade, I haven't heard him say a curse word. So I know his kids don't really talk like that. It's not that they're better than anybody else's kids. That's not the language that they hear at home. So I was using the language that I heard at home, and I'm looking at Peter rolling with Jesus, and I'm like, but that Jesus homeboy, like, we talking about Jesus. This is one of Jesus' tightest partners. And so the point was, people would tell you, oh, you can't be saved because you cussed. And I was like, what? Yeah, you said a word that changed. Because I remember when I was little, lie was a cuss word. If you said lie when I was little, you getting a whipping.
Yeah.
Now my daughter say, Dad, he lying.
Because we teach them to call a liar. Because that's what the word says.
Yeah, but I remember we got a whipping.
Tawana said Peter had to say what Jesus couldn't say. Jesus could say whatever he wanted to say.
Tawana, I'm with you. I'm speaking for the people that can't say that. That's why I tell her, you don't got to do all that cussing. I got this for you. I've been practicing my whole life. What that song? Shit, damn, mother. See, I got all that down. I've been all my life. I got this for you. Just sit back and let me do this. You
okay. Yes,
that's
cousin.
it. I know how to do this. But
he said, Chef said, because Jesus walked with sinners, Jesus knew what he had by his side, but he still loved them regardless. That's what he wants us to be like.
yeah,
You hit it on the head. That's exactly how he wants us to be. It says, by my love and kindness have I drawn thee. And the greatest commandment is that we love one another as we love ourselves. Not that we not have sex with people. Not that we create soul ties. Not that we judge people who choose an alternative lifestyle. But that we love people as we love ourselves. That we love one another as we love ourselves. So when I find myself judging people, or I find myself doing things that bring harm to people, or more than anything, judging the decisions that other people make. That's the big one. I look and I say, you know what? It ain't my job to judge them. Don't have a heaven or hell to put them in. It's my job to love them the way I desire to be loved and the way I love me. Because that's all I'm supposed to do. I'm with you, Chef. I have a potty mouth sometimes too. That's great, Alvin Dean. Welcome. Thank you for letting us know. So when we think about having a loving respect and a love and respect for your brother, your sister, your people, mankind in general, we have to do what we have to do to debunk anything that doesn't align with what we're reading and what we're studying. Yeah. So whatever you're studying, be it Buddhism, be it the Islamic faith, be it Hinduism, Christianity, whatever you choose to study, Judaism, whatever you choose to study,
whatever your ism
is, study it and operate in it. But don't allow another person to deter you from your belief system. Study your belief system. Operate in your belief system. It is nobody's job to debunk your belief system. You got to do what works for you. So, if nothing else, you can learn that for those who do believe in Christ, for those people who do believe and do read the Bible or do believe in Christianity or follow that faith, that's something that you can relieve yourself of, because it's not true. It's not anything that's written in the Word. It's not anything that is going to take your soul away. It don't exist. It's not real. So understanding that is going to empower you to be able to say, you know what, my goal is to try to have a deeper connection, and I need to do that by studying. I need to do that by connecting with people who, when I'm around them, feed my spirit, that are not draining, that are not detaching or attacking my spirit person. That when I get around them, I see the light and I feel warm and I feel empowered. Not people who drain me, who make me feel like, you know what, I'd rather go jump off a bridge than be chilling or talking to this person. You have to protect your energy at all costs. And you can protect your energy by knowing what you're surrounding yourself with.
But also, that's
a soul tie.
Yeah, but also I think it's important that we debunk the whole theory of what we've grown up with, soul tie, and figure out what exactly it is. Like Shalonda said earlier, a mental illness. Someone else, Chef, said something about your flesh. Just dealing with the fact that you lustful.
Or even acknowledging that you may be with a partner who's a narcissist who seeks to control you. So now they've got you thinking that you can't leave them.
All of that good stuff. But once we remove the heavy label of soul tie,
you can really
now we can start to dig deep and figure out what exactly it is. So even if it's just pride, like Shanika Nicole said, getting your pride in check and understanding that you don't own that person, and it's better to let that person go than to continue to be doing all the stupid stuff that you was doing.
Absolutely.
It's better to understand that, hey, I'm lusting after this person because he got my jollies, going. So let me just calm down, center myself, and the next person I'm with, I can always go ahead and tie into on a deeper connection, and that can get my jollies off. Focus on what it was physically that was done to you that need to be replicated. Because like
figure out how to do it to yourself.
Like we said earlier, every person needs some instructions on how to get you right.
Yeah.
So figure out what physically was done to you, so that when you get with the next person that you with, that you're trying to deal with, now they have the blueprint to get you right.
Right.
But a lot of times we blame it on something like a soul tie, and we feel like this particular feeling
can't be replicated.
I can't have this feeling again.
That's a lie.
Because we haven't tended to study and figure out, what exactly did she do? What is it that she did that I liked so bad that I'm really into her like that?
Right.
And so when you get to studying it like that, you're like, okay, if you meet your husband, your wife, or whatever, now you can say, babe, I like this. Babe, I like that. And now you know how to please yourself. What up, Blair?
Chef said, for the most part, he wants us to have a good and pure heart. All that other stuff is just that other stuff. We sin unconsciously every day, but he is still blessing us and allowing us to thrive. We have to have our own mind and trust God in a way that no one else does. It's up to us to give ourselves to Christ and forget what was taught to us growing up in the church, because sometimes half of that was bull. A lot of that was bull, like for real. Hey, Blair, you have to be a student. Like I said earlier, you got to be a student of everything.
It may be more of an emotional connection.
Absolutely.
You're absolutely correct. But then you got to figure out, like, which emotions did this person tap into? Like, what about this person made you so drawn to them? It's some people that just have a particular spirit. Maybe this person was a comedian, so his comical nature or her comical nature had you able to let down your guards. Maybe they were caring. They were attentive. So now,
or maybe they filled your bucket in a way that turned you on and made you want to be more sexually free with them. Yeah. If you got a person who is, like we talk about love languages all the time, I'm a words of affirmation person. You can talk to me. You can get me there before you actually get me to the bed. A person who knows that is going to drive that. But a person who doesn't know that is going to buy me things or do other stuff, and I'm looking like, no thank you. So if you know a person and you actually take that time to get to know them, you're going to build that necessary connection. And it's not a soul tie. It has nothing to do with that. Shalana says, feeling is the right word. Our emotions are what attaches us to others. Our soul attaches us to God. That's right.
Bingo.
You hit it on the head.
Yeah, that's pretty big right there.
You hit that on the head.
And that's right. Why, you know, I chose. It was one of those things that I know people didn't really want to hear, but it was something that we continue to see at all times. Like, he crazy about her because he got a soul tie. She can't leave him alone because it's a soul tie.
Right.
And we just throw that word at it all the time. I'm just like, and like she said earlier, like sometimes he put that meat on you. You digmatized. Like, sometimes she don't suck your soul out you, bro. So you stuck. You don't know what to do. So when you able to separate this from being a feeling, a physical feeling, an emotional feeling that I'm feeling, now I can kind of break those down and deal with them. But if I cover it all up and say it's a soul tie, now I'm lost. I feel like I'm not in control. You know what I mean? Because like your soul attaches you to God. So the soul tie is like, man, I guess God want me to go through this.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because I made the mistake of having sex with her, and now my soul is attached, and she get to take my soul everywhere. So she's causing me all of this pain and all of this stuff simply because I had sex with her. So
no, and the reality is your mind feels the way it feels because you can't separate. And women have this, I don't know, I can't speak for men, but I can speak for a lot of women, in that we connect sex with everything emotionally. So when we feel this feeling, we don't want to go out and have to search to try to get that feeling replicated, because we've been told you can't have sex with this amount of people, or this is too many, or this is too much. And it creates this insecurity that says, oh, I don't want to go try it with this person, or tell this person how to please me, because now I'm going to build up this body count, or I'm going to build up this soul tie. And it has us in this space where we're not able to be free and liberated. And it's problematic. So you have to have, and that's why I think sex is not for the young. I think you need to be in a mature place, in a mature mindset, to really enjoy and be a sexual being. Because if you're not mature enough, then you confuse sex for so many other things. You confuse sex with love. You confuse sex with all these other things, when sex is an act. Now, can it be attached to love? Absolutely. Can you love a person and when you come together and have sex with them? Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. But it's very different. And I think we have so many misconceptions about those things that it makes it hard to be able to function through life, because now we've gone through life thinking that we're carrying all these people inside of us, and that couldn't be further from the truth. Because if you are a believer and you believe God has all power, then he has the power to remove anything from you and wash you clean. So that includes a person and the remnants of them. Like, so all of that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's what I don't get.
Like, it's one of the most illogical arguments of the church, and those are the things that make you question.
Yeah, and it makes non-believers who were actually listening with an open mind go to saying, huh? First you told me that Jesus was all-knowing, he was all-powerful. I went to him and said, hey, I want to be saved, I want to follow you. And now you telling me, like, Jesus clear credit, your credit history. You telling me you gonna wipe everything off my credit except this repo? Like, this one repo you can't do nothing about? But they told me you was Jesus. Why you can't remove the repo? Because that's pastors say some soul ties you can't get rid of. And I'm like, hold on. An all-powerful God cleaning his credit and he can't get rid of this repo, then you ain't all-powerful. It limits the power of God.
Puts a cap on
if you believe in it. You know what I mean? So how is it that I'm still walking around with souls that I've but I've came to you wholeheartedly and repented. So how do I walk around with these souls? It's like, I don't get it. So that's why people are really concerned about their body count. Because, boom, you had sex with 100 people. So
and that's not to say you shouldn't be concerned about your body count for health reasons.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is now you got 101 people walking around. You and 100 that you slept with. Now, if you do some simple math, the people that they don't help slept with, that you picked up, you got thousands of people with you. So now you're not even one person. Once again, it removes responsibility from yourself for what you're doing in life and gives that responsibility to someone else.
Chef says, my soul tie wasn't connected through sex. It was a soulful connection that transcended my mind in a way that my heart was free to love him, my body curved to him, and my energy was always good around him. Our connection was not just physical, but emotional, spiritual, and bigger than us ultimately. Yes.
Chef, you might need to call him back. He's single. You need to call that nigga down.
Tawana said, nah, that's the door you want to stay open.
Exactly. That's true. That's the door. When you say, oh, you can't get rid of this soul tie, that's the door you want to leave cracked open just in case he wandered back home.
Tamika makes a good point. She says, you are tied to what you choose to be tied to. God gives us free will. Choose wisely. Some folks do not mean you well. You are not lying.
Yeah. I mean, that makes perfect sense. I like when Tawana say you're going to leave that door open. That's what it is.
Yeah, you're leaving the door open.
But it makes you leave the door open. Just think about it. Me and you broke up. I'm living in Seattle. You living in Florida. Same house. And you like, oh, I got a soul tie to my ex-husband. So what's going to happen when I come tapping at the door?
I'm going to let you in.
Bingo, because you got that soul tie. See, that's your built-in excuse.
Right.
So when I come in and woo, that's just how it is. But if you truly close the door, it don't matter where I'm at. I come tap. How you doing? I'm going to send the kids out.
They'll be outside in a minute.
Yeah, or come in and sit down. This my boyfriend, so-and-so. I'm like, whoa, you got do here? Yeah. It's just different.
Yes, then people had a free will to do whatever.
That's true. You do whatever you want to do. But what I would like for people to do is just operate and know that they're in control and not getting these built-in, man-made excuses. Yeah, a spell. Like a gypsy done touch you and now you can't get rid of a person or whatever. That's your choice. Like Tawana said, you left the door open. That's a door that you want to leave open. It ain't no, oh, you so wrapped up with this person that you can't get apart. That's your problem. You don't want to get apart.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to get apart, own that. Say, hey, I like what he do to my body, and this is what it is.
Oh, wow. Sorry to hear that, babe. She said he's no longer on earth, but I learned how to love from him. I learned how to love myself and those around me. I learned what sex was with him and what my body craves for the man after him. That's powerful.
Hey, Chef, I don't want to talk to you no more. You know what I mean?
Don't do Chef like that. We're going to talk to Chef later. I think it's definitely one of those things where we can choose. That is deep.
Chef got
That's
me
deep.
You know I don't get emotional.
You don't. So we're gonna take a moment and honor this emotion.
Chef got me a little bit emotional. You know what I mean? Like, that brother was bad though. Shout out to you, bro. You did that.
But the thing is, it was for her.
Yeah.
And that same person may not have been able to create that with somebody else. That was for her. And I think it's a beautiful thing when you find your person.
Yeah.
It's a powerful thing when you find your person.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Like, I like that. I'm just saying, like,
I feel like I found my person in you.
The purpose of what I'm saying, you're going to fire me in a minute, but okay.
I'm not going to fire you. We talk about this all the time. No, but we talk about this all the time, babe. Like,
stop being all mushy and stuff.
I'm not even being mushy. I'm like straight up.
Listen, we gonna pause this, and we gonna get off, and then you can tell me all your deep, dark secrets and stuff like that. Because Chef done got your emotions. Chef done, you know you got that button. You a big bag of water.
Shut up.
You about to cry already. But anyway.
I'm not. It's one of those things where
D crazy.
When you meet your person, you know you've met your person. It's like that person, y'all go through so much, but you learn. Like, I think the most beautiful thing, I'm about to hit you. See, I'm a fire. You finna get fired. You can go through really hard times and grow. Like when you're going through it, you're growing.
She said there was a lot of growth in that relationship.
Yeah, Chef, you done brought some emotions up
Yeah,
over
you
here.
gotta stop all that.
So but every relationship needs growth, and if you're not growing in a relationship, you gotta let it go. And that is the thing that from week to week, as we come on here and we share and we talk and we have our experiences with you guys, we hope that you see growth in where we are for us, but we also hope that you see growth in yourself with your mindset, because when we come, we try to share something that has changed our way of thinking or changed the way that we operate with one another, and it's powerful. So we try to make sure that we use what we have to be able to help other people. We're not therapists, we're not counselors, we just two people who are trying to do life together and come across bumps in the road and want to be able to share with people, hey, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good, but we keep pressing on. So
it's
it is
just
what it is.
it's just to for me to close out, it's just simple. Like, if you take a moment to think about the person you've had the best sex with ever, and if that person is still alive, are you with that person? Are you not with that person? And if you're not with that person, are y'all actually tied together? Because that's kind of like the way the church write it up. You know what I mean? When you go to church, it says everybody you slept with, that's the way they write it up. I don't know where they get the doctrine from, but I've heard it several times from several pastors. And, you know, I've challenged a couple respectfully, but yeah, I don't go back to that particular spot if you can't answer my questions. But I just think that we should know what it is and study for ourselves, and just understand that you got to call your addiction, your attraction, your lust, your ownership exactly what it is.
Yep.
And don't use this big...
Don't try to cloak it in
this
Christianity
term,
or something else and make it something it's not.
Yeah, like, don't call it what it is. And once you identify what it is, then you know how to navigate that particular path. But if you continue to just say it's something that is not, then you never truly mentally can navigate that particular path. So your healing is really not going to happen because you don't really know what's going on. So identifying your shortcomings and then correcting those, you know, I think that's the only way you're going to be able to really deal with it. So to me, topic was soul ties, fact or fiction.
For me, I'm gonna say that as women, we have to know what we like and what we're intertwined with. We have to lose the patriarchal mentality that we have to follow what men have set forth before us, and not own our own bodies and not own our own sexuality, and feel like we have to succumb to what men believe about us as women. I think that Tamika, why did you take the words out of my mouth? I feel like you have to be emotionally capable of handling sexual relationships so that you can put them and compartmentalize them in such a way that they don't dictate the way that you function. Tamika said, I think the issue is emotionally. You have to be able to handle the consequences of your choices. Some connections are hard to move on from. Yeah, that's fact. And I've had connections that weren't sexual that were hard to move on from.
But you got
because of the emotional connection.
But you got to identify why the connection
was hard to move on from.
You can't just cloak it and say this is a soul tie. It could have been you were active service person and this person served you.
Yep.
So if this person
or this person affirmed you, or whatever your love language, if this person spoke your love language, then and they dicked you down, and they turned you on.
Yeah, and they had, you supposed to say good penis.
I'm sorry, and they had good penis, then
yeah, and see,
it makes it hard.
Some people dickmatize you too, so you need to understand that, was it the dick? Was that his only trick, or was it something else? So once you identify,
was Kitty Thunder putting it on him? Like, you got to know. Once
you identify the issue, then you can call it what it is, and not just say it's a soul tie.
Right. That's it, guys. We love you. We're so glad that you came to hang out with us. We will not be on next week. We're taking a break. But we'll see you the following week. And we hope that you have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. We love you.